Cassandra sees this, what do you want to say to her?
That we love you. Your family loves you. You did nothing wrong. And just know that we're still waiting to come home.
It has been a long and awful and frustrating day for the many, many relatives of the hundreds and hundreds of people who are still missing after yesterday's attack.
He's my brother. You understand how I feel?
I'm her only child. She's all that I have.
4,763 people remain unaccounted for.
My 5-year-old keeps asking me, my daddy's taking too long to come home. Where is he?
I just want him to walk through that door.
Sneha Phillip, an emergency room doctor who was going home to Battery Park City that fateful morning. When she saw the wounded fleeing World Trade, she ran inside the tower to help.
I was on the phone with her, and she told me that she couldn't leave because there was people who were hurt. And last thing I started telling, I selfishly I told her, come on, just leave the building. And she said, no, I have to help this person over here, and it's the last thing I heard from her.
But that was a lie, and Sneha's brother knew it. He knew that his sister was last seen on September 10th, not on September 11th, but he was desperate to get his sister some media coverage. So what happened to the 31-year-old doctor? We know that her name is listed here at the 9/11 memorial, but we don't know if she actually died here. This is our quest to find Sneha Phillip, the woman who disappeared the night before history.
Nobody's safe. We're not safe. Even all these little buildings, we're not safe.
Hold on just a moment. We've got an explosion inside.
Hold it up in front of you and just tell me what it is. This is the original.
It's the original missing person card for Sneha Phillip that was produced by the Missing Persons Squad and Police Headquarters.
Why do you keep that here in your office?
Just a memory of her. My only unsolved case, technically. I mean, I really think she's deceased, but, there's no proof. There's no DNA.
But could there be somewhere? I wanted to find the proof, but I quickly realized that the disappearance of Sneha Phillip is just as complicated as she was or is. I spoke with a lot of people who knew Sneha. Unfortunately, none of them would do an interview with us, but they all said the same things about her, that she was energetic, outgoing, popular, beautiful, smart. But people also say that Sneha was a little troubled. Doctors who worked with Sneha said that she was a very talented physician, but had problems applying herself and focusing. In July of 1999, Sneha started her residency as an internal medicine resident at Cabrini Medical Center, and Ron Lieberman, her fiance, as an emergency medicine resident at Jacobi Medical Center.
They were relatively newly married, and they also lived across the street from the Trade Center in Battery Park City.
Ron says at first Sneha really loved working at Cabrini, but then shortly thereafter she started having problems with some of the other staff members. In May of 2001, Sneha received notification from Cabrini that they were not renewing her residency contract. We found that there had been problems with Sneha in terms of showing up late for work and that she had been asked to leave several times because she didn't seem focused. A supervising doctor there says one time she had to send Sneha home because she came to work drunk. Another time she had to send her home because she was just ill-prepared and wasn't focused. Maybe things were becoming too much for Sneha. June 2001 is when her life really seems to begin to unravel. Sneha was at a bar with a group of coworkers from Cabrini when she says that one of her male coworkers sexually abused her and that she hit him. She filed a police report the next morning. After an investigation by the NYPD and the Manhattan DA, the DA found that Sneha had made up this story. She was charged with falsely reporting an incident, assault, harassment, and trespassing. That's because on the same night that this all happened, this male coworker says that Sneha trespassed into his apartment to tell his wife about what he had allegedly done to her. Police arrested Sneha and she spent the night in jail. She always maintained that this incident did happen to her, and her family believes that it happened. They say shortly after this alleged incident, Sneha became very depressed and started drinking. On September 10th of 2001, Sneha wasn't at work at her new job at St. Vincent's Hospital, now Richmond University Medical Center on Staten Island. She was here, Manhattan Criminal Court, facing those misdemeanor charges. According to court documents, Ron told police that at the courthouse, he and Sneha got in a very big fight about her drug and alcohol abuse and infidelity. He later testified in court that they did not have a fight. 10:30 a.m. September 10th, Ron and Sneha arrived back at their apartment and have breakfast together. Sneha told Ron that she was going to clean the apartment because that next night, the night of September 11th, they were having her cousins over for dinner. 11:30 a.m., Ron leaves the apartment for work. He says this is the last time he saw Sneha, that he gave her a kiss goodbye, and when he left the apartment, he forgot his keys. So he went back inside, gave her another kiss goodbye, and then went to work. 2 to 2:30 p.m., Sneha meditates in her apartment. 2:30 p.m., Sneha and her mom talk via instant messenger for about an hour while Ansu is at work. Ansu says Sneha filled her in on her weekend with Ron and that she seemed very excited about her future. In 2001, Sneha's mother Ansu did an interview with 2020, and she recalled one of the last conversations she had with her daughter.
Mom, I'm just ready to have babies. Ron's going to be the greatest father in the world.
Between 4 and 5 p.m., Sneha tells her mom she's going to run some errands. Between 5:15 and 5:30 p.m., the doorman at 225 Rector Place reports that he saw Sneha walk out of the apartment building. He says that Sneha did not return by the time he finished his shift at 11 o'clock at night. Around 5:30 p.m., Sneha goes to Century 21, located at 22 Cortlandt Street. That was about a 12-minute walk from the couple's apartment. This is the last image of Sneha Phillip, taken from surveillance video from Century 21. Stark says this image was part of his investigation.
We went to Century 21, spent like 4 or 5 hours there looking, because they don't have motion sensor, so you have to look at 4 hours of video to watch, to look for somebody. So I actually found that she was in Century 21 the night before.
She was looking at coats because she had told Ron that she wanted a new coat from Century 21 for her birthday. Century 21 is a 6-story building. The women's coats were on the 5th floor. On the 3rd floor, Sneha picked up lingerie, and then in the basement, she got bed linens. She made both purchases on Ron's American Express card at 6:05 p.m. At 7:18 p.m., Sneha purchased 3 pairs of shoes on the ground floor of the store. She most likely exited on Broadway. This is where Sneha's story takes a mysterious turn. Where did she go when she left Century 21 that night? Did she go to meet up with someone she knew? Did she go to someone's apartment? Maybe she went to a bar or restaurant. We don't know for sure, but we do have some clues, and they come from the weather that night.
Some thunder showers still moving across the area, and for the next 2 hours, you should kind of expect them to be around there.
Andres Berilov recorded video of the rain during the early evening on September 10th. He was visiting his sister in Greenwich Village. And then later that night, he recorded the thunderstorms. They were intense. So picture this. Sneha leaves Century 21 with several heavy bags of merchandise, $500 worth of merchandise. It's stormy and rainy. It's not like she's just gonna walk around Lower Manhattan in that weather carrying all these bags. So I believe she went somewhere she knew and probably met up with someone she knew. Was it a friend? Was it an acquaintance? Who was it? "11:30 p.m. September 10th. Ron returns home from work to find Sneha is not at the apartment. Ron says he thought Sneha could have been at her brother John's apartment on Greenwich Street. That's about a 5-minute walk from their apartment. Sneha and John had gotten into a fight just the week before, and Ron thought maybe Sneha was there trying to patch things up. Even if she wasn't at John's, Ron wasn't too worried when he went to bed on September 10th and Sneha wasn't home.
Sneha and Ron had sort of a, I don't want to say unusual, but maybe slightly different, I'm not going to say arrangement, but
It was not uncommon for Sneha to stay out overnight and come back the next morning.
That's correct.
But what was a source of tension between the two was the fact that Sneha was not telling Ron where she was staying. And that really bothered him, and it was something he was trying to work on with her. She did not tell Ron where she was staying the night of September 10th. When Ron woke up the next morning and Sneha wasn't home, again, he wasn't too concerned.
She usually return anywhere between 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, you know, get dressed and go to work.
But Sneha was not scheduled to work on September 11th. Right after the attacks, Ron starts calling the apartment to try to find Sneha. He isn't able to reach her, but he assumes that maybe she's helping with the emergency response, or maybe she went into work at St. Vincent's. Around 3 o'clock, Ron is still not able to get in touch with Sneha. So he asked his supervisor, because they did not get the rush of patients that they thought they would get at Jacobi, if he could go try to find his wife. The supervisor said it was okay. Ron